When I was a kid, my sister and I used to watch horror movies religiously. We would head down to the video rental store, search for the scariest looking movies we could find, then after spending the weekend traumatizing myself, I wouldn't be able to sleep alone in my room for the week. Now, I think all that gore, stress, and horror must have done something to my underdeveloped brain because I've kind of desensitized to horror movies now as an adult. They just aren't scary anymore. You know what does scare me though is horror video games. My wife and I did a playthrough of Resident Evil 7 a while back, and that had us on the edge of our seats the entire time. The stress, the anxiety, the jump scares. It was fun indulging into my hobbies with my wife in a way that only horror games can provide. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, then you'll know that I'm an amateur 3D artist. As someone who would like to turn this hobby into a career someday and work on some sick games, I'm challenging myself to recreate iconic assets from AAA video games. In the last video, I created this extraction point from Ark Raiders. Today though, I'm going to be paying tribute to the game that made me shit my pants, Resident Evil Biohazard. I figure what better way to pay tribute to this masterpiece than by offending the original artist with my monstrosities.
Who are all you people? Where's Mia?
Eat it. It's good.
Okay, so the asset I'll be recreating is the cassette recorder save point. For those unfamiliar, you can only save your progress in the game by coming to one of these and interacting with it. Very cool, very old school. To kick things off, I hunted around for some reference images and took some screenshots in-game from different angles. I loaded them into Blender and PureRef and got to modeling out all the different parts. Now, my modeling skills are pretty dog shit, but I think I managed to get it looking alright. Most of this was just basic shapes, while the button levers required some basic sub-D modeling. I need to model on these little impressions on the buttons for the play, rewind, stop, and so on, but instead of modeling them into the mesh directly, I plan to add those via normals in the texturing phase. There isn't really anything else to say about this part, just modeling the parts into their sections to match them as close as I can to the original. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that by now I do all of my texturing inside of Blender, with the exception of a bit of Photoshop. And every single one of those videos are flooded with comments about how I need to learn Substance Painter because it's industry standard and it's so much better for texturing and it's what the professionals use. Well, 6 months into this YouTube journey and I've decided to actually listen to your guys' advice. I've been learning Substance Painter over the last couple of weeks, and while I just need to get more comfortable with it, I feel like I'm good enough to make something maybe half decent. Blender being my first and only 3D software, I've learned and gotten very comfortable with Blender's node-based texturing workflow. I feel like my texturing skills, however, have reached a point where I'm starting to notice some flaws in this workflow. While I feel Blender will always be more intuitive to me, I'm starting to realize that Substance Painter just does some things better and easier. Baking out all your different texture maps and textures is infinitely easier in Substance Painter, utilizing your curvature and AO maps to produce edge wear, crevice dust, things of that nature is just a much more seamless process. Don't get me wrong though, you can 100% achieve all of this in Blender still. Substance Painter just makes it easier to reach the results that you want right off the bat. Anyway, since I sub-D modeled the buttons on the cassette recorder, the poly count is a little high for this asset. I quickly made a low poly version of the buttons, duplicated the rest of the mesh, and now I have a high poly and low poly version of this asset. After UV unwrapping the low poly version, I exported these both, loaded up my low poly version in Substance Painter, imported the high poly version to bake from, and now I'm ready to start texturing. Now, bear with me while I'm learning this program. The most frustrating thing for me is knowing how everything works in theory, but not being familiar enough with the tools and UI to be able to accomplish what I want. Luckily, what I'm trying to achieve is pretty straightforward. Most of these sections of these textures, judging by the reference images, will be black-coated metal. I'm not sure if it's actually meant to be metal or plastic. I'm a bit too lazy to do proper research. It probably is plastic now that I'm thinking about it, but I base it off a metallic base when I was texturing this anyway. So basically, I just created a couple of layers, dragged some smart masks onto them, and made some adjustments to said masks. I tried getting the edge wear and general damage to roughly match what was on the original asset, and I feel I did an okay job. It didn't come out entirely perfect. I had some strange sections where the AO or curvature map baked a little awkwardly in some spots. Looking back, I believe it was because I removed some of the faces that could not be seen, causing the AO and curvature to behave a little bit funny. Also, while writing the script for this video, I learned that when baking high to low poly, you can label each respective part, leaving a high poly and low poly suffix at the end of the name. This allows you to select this option right here, which I think prevents bleeding from one mesh to another when baking out your maps. I don't know, I need to play around with it a bit more. Leave a comment correcting me or explaining it properly if you do know how it works, because it looks important. Anyway, the original asset has different sections with different materials. This part here looks a bit more damaged than this part over here. This part is shinier, this part has emission. I basically went through all the different sections and textured them all one by one. Something that I learned after creating this asset was this thing called polygon fill, where I can just create materials and use a mask to apply them to different sections of the mesh. I wish I knew this earlier because it would have just made things easier, and I feel so stupid looking back, and I'll show you why in a minute. I wanted to add these little impressions for the play, rewind, eject button, and so on. I was trying to figure out how to do that in Substance Painter, but I couldn't quite get it. I was going to model up these shapes in Blender and export them as normal maps, but I've also been learning Substance Designer just a little bit recently, and I figured I'd try and put that to some practical use. In Designer, I quickly shaped up all of the different button impressions that I needed and just exported the normal maps and brought them into Substance Painter. I created a normal layer and stamped those on. They didn't turn out exactly how I would have liked them to, but my theory is it's better to complete an imperfect project while you're learning rather than perfectionism preventing you from completing it at all. And that's exactly what I did. I spent a little bit too much time here trying to line up the brush to paint the buttons in straight. I feel like there should be a way to snap your brush to an axis grid, but I'm yet to find any option that allows me to do that. I created an emissive texture for this screen. I'm not sure if there is some kind of trick that I need to know about creating emissive textures correctly, but it didn't really turn out how I expected. Looking back, I feel like it might have just been set to the wrong blending mode, but it simply wasn't coming out as the color I was expecting, and layering in some grunge wasn't yielding the results that I wanted. I mean, it didn't look terrible, but it definitely didn't look great. I was having some issues with this smart mask acting a bit funny. I believe that was because this little part here was intersecting with this mesh, causing some issues when baking the curve and AO maps. This is something that I know for next time, so, you know, we learn from our mistakes. I was pretty much just finishing up these textures. I was yet to texture this cassette tape, but at this point, I wasn't really feeling modeling an entire tape and texturing it. So I baked out the textures that I had done so far and did a little sneaky. I found this image of a cassette tape on the internet and projected it straight onto a rectangle inside of Blender. Added a little bit of grunge and noise to dirty it up a little bit, and at this point, the asset is pretty much done. Now, a big problem that I ran into when I finished modeling my asset was I created a material inside of Blender for each texture I wanted on this model. I figured it would be a good way to keep things organized and make things easier for myself in Substance Painter. What ended up happening though was when I baked out my textures, it created a different texture image for each material. Now I had a total of 9 materials, which left me with like 70 odd texture images. If my asset is only using base color, roughness, normal, metallic, and emissive, I only want there to be 5 texture images. 75, big difference. So like a scrub, I had to combine all these texture files inside of Photoshop. I managed to fix it up though. I applied the texture images inside of Blender so the asset used a total of 1 material. I dropped in some lights and a camera, rendered out an image and animation, and this is what I'm left with. This asset, as it stands, has a total of 1,098 tries. While I'm sure this could be reduced in poly count by about 20 or so %, I feel like this is perfectly acceptable for an indie video game. I doubt this could be passed as a AAA quality asset though, but it's all a learning process. I'm really glad I decided to give Substance Painter a proper try. In all of my videos, I have countless people reaching out to me offering me advice on how I can improve, what software I should look into, what techniques I could apply, and so on. I read all of my comments, and for the most part, you guys are super helpful. I want to say thank you. There are many more programs that I want to try out, such as Unreal Engine, 3D Coat, and I really want to get good at Substance Designer. Learning these programs does take time though, and a lot of industry standard programs aren't fucking cheap. If you would like to help me out though, liking this video as well as leaving a comment and subscribing goes a long way for the algorithm. It's a bit of a shameless thing to ask, but fuck it, you gotta play the game to win it, right? If you would like to go the extra mile, you could subscribe to my Patreon. By doing so, you will have access to all of my project files and assets that I create for these videos, as well as get your name at the end of the videos. Anyway, here's Art of the Week, where people from my Discord server submit their art to get featured in these videos. Come join the Discord if you would like to be part of a community of game devs and artists. If there's any other assets from cool video games you'd like to see me try and recreate, let me know down below. I'm going to try and upload on more of a 2-week schedule rather than a monthly, so yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, bye.